welcome to Alberton Oval here for this South Australian Women's League game between Port Adelaide and Salisbury. We are ready to go right away. Fraser Fife and Emma Sampson here with the call, as looks like Port Adelaide going to get it out of the centre circle as they get a good run towards centre half forward. Nice little pick up here for Port Adelaide. Kick towards centre half forward. Bit of a contest here. Looks like Port Adelaide trying to get that ball out. Salisbury not going to let this one go. Nice little kick towards full forward as that one's going to bounce through for a behind. So Port Adelaide will get the first score here in this game as Betty Fuoco gets the behind. As looks like here Port Adelaide going to try and get something going here after that loss to Christie's Beach last week. So Salisbury with their first tap of the ball, going to kick it back as they're trying to get a rotation towards the close wing. Nice little chip kick. And they're going to push it more towards, they're going to push it more towards this wing here. A nice little mark here. And Salisbury getting some numbers behind the ball here early. It's going to be important for them to get some offense going. A dropped ball, but some numbers going to lock out those Port Adelaide jumpers. But no, a nice tackle by Farrier will bring the ball back Port Adelaide's way. Kick towards the centre square, but Salisbury getting the numbers yet again. And it's going to be a bit of a contest. This ball, anyone's at the moment, one-on-one contest. And Salisbury with the numbers, but I think this is going to be a ball up here for the first stoppage of this game.
A great first up tackle there by Farrier. Good start for her team and leading as captain.
So Salisbury with the punch out, going to go back towards the ruckman, and Port Adelaide trying to get this ball out. It's going to be so important here as it looks like we're going to have a second stoppage, that getting the ball out of the middle, getting those scoring opportunities. We saw with Salisbury, they were able to take out the top team in Adelaide University. So if they can get a similar going in this game against Port Adelaide, they are in good stead. As a nice tackle there for Port Adelaide brings about another stoppage here as the ball can't seem to get out of the middle.
Yeah, and it's really important that Port Adelaide get a good start today. We saw that they played well in the first half last week.
Yeah, they got some scoring going in the first quarter. As nice ball by Farrier trying to get it out as Port Adelaide now just outside the 50. Can't get the clean pickup. Soccers it along the ground. Port Adelaide with the numbers. A nice little chip kick towards full forward. Can't quite get the pickup, but the one-on-one, it looks to be going in Port Adelaide's favour, but Salisbury with the quick numbers behind the ball, and it's going to be another stoppage deep in Port Adelaide territory. So we'll see if Port Adelaide can get a good ruck here. But Salisbury putting the pressure on early. Port Adelaide just keeping it in their zone. As here is the ruck. Another one goes in Salisbury's favour, but they can't quite get the ball at Farrier yet again. Trying to get the ball towards that middle full forward, but just can't quite get it there. Salisbury with the reversal back out towards the wing. Nice little kick, but can't get the clean pick up. This is going to be kicked towards the wing, and that one's going to take a couple of bounces and go out of bounds for the ball up. So Salisbury doing a good job here. Port Adelaide with the early pressure here. If Salisbury can weather this, get it into their own zone, they look to be doing all right, but Port Adelaide with the early momentum.
Yeah, they'll want to make most of these opportunities inside 50.
So here is the ball up. Looks to go deep towards that centre square. Port Adelaide with the pickup, but it's going to be held short. So Salisbury, as we said, with that pressure so far. Port Adelaide, as we mentioned, they ended up losing to Christie's Beach last week as they were held scoreless through the second and third quarter. So it's going to be important for them not just to score, but also to score consistently throughout each quarter.
Yeah, that's right. So hopefully they can, like I said, make most of their inside 50s that they've had early.
Well, so far, Port Adelaide still with the early pickup. Soccer along the ground as Salisbury, again, with those numbers back. That's the benefit that they have, as this ball has not left Port Adelaide territory. Salisbury trying to get the ball out, but it's going to be another stoppage here in the middle of this field, as that was Baker with the ball, but just couldn't get it out in time. So another ball up here. Salisbury with the early dominance in the ruck, but it's been going all Port Adelaide's way, at least in regards to possession. as that one's going to spill out. Nice little tackle here. Salisbury can't quite get the clean pickup, but 1, 2, past 2, but can't quite get past the third as Port Adelaide jumpers all around him. Has got a bit of a break here as Salisbury finally able to get the ball out towards the centre circle. A good pick up and run here. Can they get the momentum going? Looks like Port Adelaide's going to try and get this, but the first time it's gone into Salisbury territory for this game. But Port Adelaide, luckily enough, with this, as that one spills out the back, it's going towards the Port Adelaide headquarters, the far side of the wing, but Salisbury with the ball yet again, trying to get their first mark, maybe a shot on goal here, but Port Adelaide with some good defensive rotations. They're trying to rotate it towards the close part of the wing. It's off the legs as the clean pickup can't get through, but it's going to be knocked off Salisbury for the ball up. So the first time Salisbury got the ball in their side of the field, and they showed some really good pace, but they just couldn't quite capitalise yet.
Yeah, that's Paige Allen out on that wing, and she's probably one of the fastest in the league. So if she can get some space, Port Adelaide will be in a bit of trouble out there.
Yep, speed is definitely an important part of the game, but you've got to be able to capitalise on these scoring opportunities. As the ball up, and Salisbury with the possession as it's going to soccer out. Port Adelaide just trying to now weather this storm as Salisbury has some numbers behind the ball, but no one can get the clean pickup yet. Another stoppage here just inside the 50, the centre half forward. So Salisbury, they've had a good opportunity here with the rucks, but Port Adelaide with the pace and Salisbury with the clean kick out towards full forward. But again, Port Adelaide just got those numbers behind the ball. They know where it's going, and they've got numbers behind it. Salisbury, as we said, a high octane team last week, scored 75 points against Adelaide University, the top ranking team last season. They've got some good confidence coming in here in the away game at Alberton Oval.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of their girls played in the SANFLW as well and had really good seasons there, so they'll be looking for them to have a big game today.
So free kick in favour of Salisbury, as that one is going to go to Courtney Plowman. So she's got an opportunity here just on the 50 line. So it looks like she might even go the distance, yelling for some players to get in front, as this is going to be a packed contest just in front of goal, but looks like in this case doesn't quite have the distance. Salisbury able to get it out yet again though, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging this time to get it through the big uprights. Salisbury still with possession, but Port Adelaide just with those numbers, as that one's going to go through for the first goal for Salisbury. As Shannon Murphy, she goes down as the first goal scorer for Salisbury. Now make it 6-1 in favour of Salisbury. So a nice run of play there. Port Adelaide had a lot of numbers behind the ball, but Salisbury able to find those gaps, just get the ball off the foot. It's all you need to do. It doesn't need to be pretty. You just need to get it through those uprights.
Yeah, I think their forward pressure was really good. They locked it in really well, and then they capitalised on that inside 50. So hopefully if we can see Port Adelaide, stem the tide and get one back.
Yeah, momentum is definitely important as it's now back to the centre. We saw so much action so far in the first couple of minutes here in this centre circle, in the centre square, but we've had a bit of back and forth now here. We'll see how this goes as Salisbury with the Sockers along the ground. As they got that pace again that we're seeing. They're just trying to get it out of that centre square, get that going, but at the moment, a lot of stoppages here early on, and that's what you need, especially if you've got a pacey team like Salisbury. Just make those stoppages, force them to play fundamental football to get that ball towards their forward 50. But Port Adelaide now with the kick that goes straight to Salisbury. Mark for Salisbury.
25.
Yeah, it does look to be 25. So Salisbury with, as I said, a very fortunate penalty here, as now they've got the ball in forward territory. Big kick towards centre half forward. It's bouncing towards full forward. Salisbury with the numbers, a bit of a don't argue, as the kick is just going to go off the post. And that is so unfortunate for Sonneman there. Just to get that ball off the boot, had all the muscle that she needed just to fend off a few, but just couldn't get the ball through the uprights here as we see the replay. And yeah, there you go, a bit of a don't argue, but just couldn't get it off the right foot cleanly. So a bit of a breath of relief for Port Adelaide here.
Yeah, that's right. They held well just then.
So Salisbury with another chance here as the ball isn't going to go in favour of Port Adelaide, but they've got numbers on the ground as there's going to be a bit of a scramble here, and it looks like we could have another stoppage here just inside the forward 50 for Salisbury. So it's going to be important for Port Adelaide. As I said, fundamentals so important, and just getting those accurate kicks, especially when you're trying to get it out of your defensive 50, because Salisbury putting the pressure on early. Another kick that's going to go towards full forward off the boot as Port Adelaide trying to get those numbers around it, but they just can't quite do it. And I think this is going to be the story of this game. It's just getting those stoppages. And as we've seen, Salisbury has been dominating the ruck so far, so they've got to feel confident in their forward 50. As Solomon's been so important, as that's going to be kicked out, and that's going to be a fantastic goal right there for Plowman.
Yeah, that was a great tap by Jamie Lee Sonneman there, and Plowman was on the run and just finished well that time.
It's so important to have that rover around the ruck who can just pick up that ball, because as I said, Sonneman has been so good and been able to dominate her opponent so far that when you're pretty much winning 100% of your ruck contest, is having someone who can pick up that ball, pick it up cleanly and kick it through, especially in that important of an offensive position. That's going to be setting up Salisbury very nicely for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and it makes it really hard for the defence when that forward's running with pace through the pack there, and it makes it really hard to tackle them, and well done by Salisbury.
So we reset here in the first, as 11 minutes have gone so far, and it's been all one-way traffic. Salisbury with the more accurate kicking at the moment, but they've got possession yet again, and a big booming kick right down the guts. They got someone in front of it, but it's going to be a one-on-one contest. That pace being shown off yet again. Kick right down the middle. It's got to bounce and just go in for a behind. So again, that pace being shown off, Port Adelaide being shown as flat-footed, and I think if they can keep this pace up, it's going to be so important for the rest of this game. But pace is something that you can have early on in the game, but it's when that fourth quarter happens, a lot of these stoppages, having that pace out of those stoppages is going to be so important, as the Port Adelaide kick is going to be well wide. It's going to go out of bounds on the full, and there, that kicking that just isn't finding its target yet for Port Adelaide, all going in favour of Salisbury.
Yeah, and I think that's down to the pressure that Salisbury are putting on.
Yeah, so much pressure, and it's working for them so far. And here is the kick, and that one's going to be bouncing in front of a contest. Even numbers on both sides, but Salisbury with the pressure at the moment we've been talking about, as there's going to be a nice tackle there for Salisbury. Able to get those numbers in front. I'm going to have another ball up. But for Evans, who has been really the defensive stalwart so far, trying to stop, 3-4 players on the Salisbury side, it's just been a tough contest for her. As another ball here that's going to be just bouncing around, can't find a clean winner. There's Solomon yet again, big boot. It's going to go high. Doesn't have the distance to go through the goalposts, as Salisbury just trying to reset yet again. Another kick off the right side, and it's going to go shading right for a behind. So Salisbury, all that pressure early on. We saw in the first couple of minutes, Port Adelaide had all the pressure. Salisbury able to weather it. Now that it's gone to the other side, it's reversed. Port Adelaide can't quite get the same sort of pressure.
No, and they're struggling to get it out of their 50 at the moment, but they've found a target here.
So Pryor with that last behind, and Port Adelaide got some accurate kicking now, as that one's going to be smothered. And again, Salisbury with that pressure. Nice soccer off the ground for Solomon. But can they get this ball in for another shot on goal? That one's going to go wide and potentially out of bounds, and it will. So Port Adelaide with possession. 15-0 the scoreline at the moment. So can Port Adelaide at least get it back into the middle? They were doing all right in those middle contests, but Salisbury with all the pressure early on. Searching kick towards centre half back. Salisbury with again, getting possession, and they've just shown that pace. A nice tackle there, and that's going to be a nice stop there for Hayley Charity. Just showing, again, it's coming down to those last-minute tackles, those one-on-one contests that Port Adelaide have just been able to hold on to. But, again, that pressure from Salisbury is a bit too much at the moment. Port Adelaide, if they can just get that pace out like Salisbury have shown, if they can get it back to that middle, if they can get some momentum going their way, we could be seeing a bit of a change here. But so far, all one-way traffic, as it's going to be a middle contest at the moment. Salisbury with the pickup at the moment. Nice tackle there will stop it, as that's Pellitzer. with a nice tackle. Another stoppage here. So at least Port Adelaide showing some good chops defensively. Just haven't been able to show much offensively at the moment, as the contest is going to go in favour of Salisbury yet again with the possession. Again, it's going to be trying to get it back towards the middle for Port Adelaide. The Sockers are going back towards the middle part of the ground, the middle square. Nice little searching kick towards the wing. And Port Adelaide trying to get that pace on it, but it's going to go out of bounds for another ball up.
And Salisbury are just winning every ruck tap at the moment, and Port can't get any use out of the middle.
Well, Solomon's been so good in that ruck, and as I said, when you can win 100% of your ruck contest, that definitely sets you up very nicely, especially in this game. But still early days. Port Adelaide, as we said, showed some early promise in the first couple of minutes, just couldn't capitalise. We're now 15 minutes in to the first quarter. Port Adelaide just trying to at least reset, stop being on the defensive, on the back foot. But for Salisbury, you want this to keep on going, as they do have possession towards the wing, trying to get it out. Port Adelaide with the kick off the right foot, and that one is going to go foul yet again. So another ball up here, and said for Port Adelaide, just trying to get that pace out, but at least right now we're getting back to more of that contested footy. But with Solomon in the ruck for Salisbury, we'll have to see if Port Adelaide can maybe even just try to get some matchup. There's some pace from Port Adelaide, finally gets it out towards the far side of the wing, but it's finally back in the middle, one-on-one contest. And again, Port Adelaide just can't keep control of the ball, can't get that possession. Salisbury yet again with that pace. Again, the kicking not quite accurate there, as it's going to go out of bounds yet again, but that shows that one-on-one contest, Salisbury are winning it. They're able to put that pressure on, and Port Adelaide just don't know what to do at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you sort of drop an easy-ish mark, then, you know, you're sort of on the back foot again.
And things can start to spiral, as, again, Salisbury trying to get this possession, ball bouncing around, can't quite get the clean pickup. Port Adelaide just trying to get that pressure on, but so far, Salisbury looking nice, as this ball going to be held up. Port Adelaide with the possession, but Salisbury with some good tackling pressure. And that one's going to be a ball up. So far, score 15-3. As here is the kick, and that one's going to go out of bounds on the full. So maybe just a bit of good luck here for Port Adelaide. A lot of that play towards the far side of the wing here, but they have not been able to find any offensive success. A searching ball towards a 2-on-1 contest. Again, middle of the ground at the moment, but Salisbury with the numbers as they maintain possession. But again, another stoppage here. So at least Port Adelaide finding these stoppages. If they can keep it in this favour and just try to get some things going, we'll have to see what they can do. But so far, Salisbury with the pickup. Bit of a 1-2 shake. Now they've got some space to work with. Kick towards centre half forward, drifting towards the wing. It's definitely inside 50. But Evans with the pickup, the handball thrown to the ground. And that is going to be a free kick in her favour. A bit of a sigh of relief for Port Adelaide. But again, Evans been showing some good defensive wiles, as she's going to go and try and transfer across. Can't quite find her target, but luckily no one around. So Port Adelaide does have a little bit of breathing room as they kick it towards the close side of the wing, over the head of the one-on-one contest. Salisbury getting out in front, got the possession at the moment, but Port Adelaide definitely not giving up. Howell showing some good wiles and gets it down for another stoppage.
Yeah, and Salisbury are really defending the corridor well and forcing Port wide.
Yeah, that's in there. Constantly forced to switch either side of the ground. It just doesn't give them that pace that they need to be able to push past the middle part of the ground. But now Salisbury looking to play on, kicking it towards the contest in centre half forward. And again, Port Adelaide with those numbers, but they just haven't been able to find that success. Another handball out as it's starting to drift towards the centre square. But again, Salisbury, those numbers, it's a suffocating defence from them. And so when it's in your part of the ground, when you've got those numbers, it puts just Port on the back foot, as we've got another stoppage, another ball up. And Port Adelaide finally starting to win some ruck contests as well. Ball bouncing out towards the centre square, drifting towards centre circle now with some pace. Salisbury again trying to find someone in the forward zone. We'll see what they can do. Evans again trying to get that spoil going, but Salisbury with the 2-on-1 contest, finding as it drifts out towards the wing, bit of a shove off, and now a kick on the right boot. It's bouncing towards full forward. If they can get a clean possession here, they could get another scoring opportunity. And it's going to be another stoppage here as O'Brien just couldn't quite get the clean pick up. So another stoppage, but again, deep in Salisbury territory. And Port Adelaide with the kick out, but it goes right into the hands of Salisbury. Now they've got a bit to work with here as the mark taken by Sophie Hoyle. If she's got the distance, she's got a good angle to work with here. It's going to be from about 40 or so, as there is the siren. So Salisbury with an opportunity here. If she's got the big boot, she can at least add another score here in what has been a very successful first quarter for Salisbury. As she lines up for the kick. A lot of players around that full forward zone just trying to tap it through the big boot. And it has gone off a hand off the post, so it will be a behind. Almost had the distance, but as I said, bookmarks a very successful first quarter for Salisbury. 16-3 the scoreline at the moment. And as I said, with that pace, that defense that they have shown, and it's all been one-way traffic, really from bar the first couple of minutes of this quarter.
Yeah, and Jamie Lee Sonneman in the ruck was just dominant. Just got her midfielder's first use, and like I said, the pace that they showed out of the middle and into their 50 really put Port Adelaide under the pump.
Well, it gives Port Adelaide, I think they probably welcomed the quarter time siren just for a chance to regroup and try and find a game plan that's going to work. As we said, Evans been very good defensively for Port Adelaide, but other than the first couple of minutes where it was deep in their territory and they had a couple of good opportunities to put scoring on the board, just couldn't quite do it. If they can now reverse their fortunes, give them something going into this second quarter, just get that revitalised energy, it gives them something to work with. But you know, at this point, Salisbury coming in high of last week, they are looking very, very good.
Yeah, and I think Port Adelaide will be, in a way, a bit happy that they kept them to only a couple of goals. So, you know, it's not panic stations by any means.
It's most definitely. Still plenty of football yet to play. I said the score at the moment, 16-3 in favour of Salisbury. 2-4-16-0-1-1. So that'll be the question on this beautiful day here at Alberton Oval. Considering the weather we've had in South Australia recently, the fact that we have such a perfect day, and it has really been a perfect weekend, and we've got fans out in attendance. It's a great atmosphere here at Alberton Park, and hopefully we'll be in for a very competitive game here. But Salisbury with the early action. So we'll have to see what they can do. This broadcast course brought to you by JMSC, Josh, Mai Tai Strength and Conditioning, and also Wakefield Sports Clinic, as they have done a fantastic job sponsoring this broadcast. Brought to you by Spacequake Sports, Fraser Fife and Emma Sampson here for this broadcast in what is round two. And really, as we mentioned, with that game against Adelaide University, I just want to come back to that because that was, you know, for a team that went undefeated, to have a round one win. Of course, new year, you know, you got to have that sort of that rebound. But coming into an away game at Alberton Oval, Port Adelaide, who did struggle last year, they struggled offensively, but still, this is their home ground. This is the ground that they practice on. This is their battlegrounds. And you're coming in here and putting in a dominant first quarter. Still 3 quarters yet to play, but we saw Port Adelaide last week. They stalled after that first quarter. Could be in something similar here.
Yeah, that's right. They've just got to keep the pressure up for the next quarter. They can't drop off like they might have last week. So, you know, this is going to be a pretty big quarter for them, and hopefully they can capitalise on some inside 50 use.
Well, it's going to be important as we see the Port Adelaide squad on your screen going through their game plan in this one. Salisbury going through theirs as well, though theirs seems to be a little bit shorter at the moment. They seem ready to go. They want to get this game continuing because they did have all that momentum. So it looks like we are going to be almost ready to go, but we'll just have to wait and see. So we'll just bring up the ladder briefly for 2018 as well in just a moment. But, you know, as I said, still early, still only the second week of the season. But, of course, when you've got a season that is relatively short in comparison to a lot of other sporting leagues around South Australia, around nationwide, and it comes down to that every game counts. You can't sort of have that slow start to the year and go, well, we can pick it up, you know, week 10, because no, the season's already over by that point. You need to be able to pick it up. And so these are some crucial games here in this South Australian Women's Football League. Of course, the National One Plumbing Division 1 league is absolutely fantastic. We had the under-18s this weekend as well. Plenty of women's football this weekend that has been absolutely fantastic. But where we're at right now, 16-1, as we now have a scoring correction in this ball game. So the siren has sounded. We are almost ready to go, and it's going to be up to Port Adelaide to try and put some scoring on the board as they're ready to go. But all one-way traffic, as we said, for Salisbury. So as they are going through their final game plan, we see Port Adelaide, they are getting out there. They want to start riding this ship because they scored 20 points in their opening quarter against Christie's Beach, but then were held to basically no score through the second and third quarter, end up putting it up another 10 in the fourth. Final score for them was 58-30 in that game. So they did show some accurate kicking in that one, but it was those limited chances. And we're seeing at this point, they've been able to get the ball at least early on in their forward 50, but they haven't been able to create those scoring chances. So we'll see what they can do here in this second quarter. So as Salisbury is ready to go, looks like the umpires are also ready to go, and we are almost ready to go here for the second quarter of this game. As there is the siren, second quarter going to be underway. Salisbury has been dominating the ruck, and looks like this one goes in favour of Port Adelaide, but not by a whole lot. Still maintains within the centre square, and it's going to be another stoppage here as Port Adelaide with numbers on the ball, but just couldn't quite get it out. Solomon, I think, is going to be one of the points of emphasis for Port Adelaide in this game, as she has been so dominant, as we said. But right now, the ball trickling out. Salisbury trying to get some numbers behind it, but Port Adelaide showing a little bit of renewed vigour. The question is, can they get the pace? Maybe switching up the side of the ground will help them out as they hit this one towards the centre half wing. And Salisbury again with that pace down the far wing, but they just can't get that clean pickup that they need. They can't get that space, that separation as it trickles down. And Port Adelaide definitely with numbers around the ball, but they just can't quite get possession. We'll see what Salisbury can do here. Can they maintain their momentum? The couple of quick handballs off. Can they get something going as it bounces back towards the centre? Neutral ground here for both teams. Port Adelaide with the 2-2 contest. Just trying to trickle along the ground, can't keep the possession. And it's going to be a ball up here down the far side of the wing. Still in neutral ground here, so still a positive for Port Adelaide. But right now, neither team been able to get it out of the centre.
No, it's been a bit of a scrap so far, so good pressure.
Nothing wrong with a bit of scrappy football if teams are showing good pressure. This one going to be hit towards Salisbury's side of the field, trying to get a big boot as it's hit just towards centre half forward outside the 50. Going to be out of distance of goal range, but if Salisbury can get some numbers, some good defensive blocking, they could have an opportunity here. Clean pickup. Nice angle. It's got the distance off the right boot for a goal, as that is Paige Allen with her first goal of this contest. Just added up for Salisbury, now make it 22-1, and there is that speed, that pace we've been showing, and really was going to come down to, as we said, the distance from centre half forward to then rotate around, use that pace as they went around the wing, and then to just easily tap it in with your right foot. Easier said than done, but a great passage of play for Salisbury.
Yeah, really good finish by Paige Allen there, and it's a really good match-up, her and Jess Evans. They're both quite quick, and I think Paige might just have her for pace after watching that last one.
Just a little bit, but if you watch the first quarter, you saw what Evans has been doing defensively. I think she'd be pretty tired right now with the amount of work that she's put in, but now back towards the centre circle, and Solomon with the kick out for Salisbury, but it goes in the hands of Port Adelaide. It's going to be up to them just to try and get that pace that Salisbury's been showing, but it's going to be smothered by Salisbury. Again, 2-2. Match up here, but Salisbury wins this one. Nice mark by Port Adelaide, as that was Sheridan Howell with a nice pickup. She's got to find some options to work with, decides to kick it towards the centre circle. But no, Salisbury again with the numbers. as they've just been able to find that separation kick towards the wing, as towards the flank, and a nice tackle there, maybe a little bit high, but it goes out over the boundary, as it looks like Hayley Charity just a little bit slow to get up as well. And looks like the trainer is being called.
Yeah, she's pretty tough, Hayley Charity, so must have hurt that one.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happened with that one, but yeah, it looks to be a foot injury. Of course, we hope the best for these players, but when in the game of football, contact sport, these sorts of things happen, and you know she's a crucial part of this team as well. You need to have all these players that, you know, especially in a game like football where you've got such quick rotations, and you need to be able to have that pace. And unfortunately for them, this does not look to be good for Port Adelaide, and this is the last thing they needed, but that could spell the game for Charity at the moment, because yeah, she's not looking good and slow to get up. She looks to be in a lot of pain.
Yeah, and she's really been strong back there today with her tackling and chasing, so they will miss her out there.
Oh, she's getting applause from the crowd here, and we'll just have to see how Port Adelaide work without her. Already in a deep hole, 22-1, the score at the moment, as it is going to be a ball up from the close side wing, but now it's going to be important for Port Adelaide not to dwell on that. They need to be able to stop this Salisbury attack, which is showing some good potency. The kick off the right boot doesn't quite have the accuracy, but it's going to be a soccer off the ground. It doesn't quite go over the goal line, handball off, but it goes straight into Port Adelaide's hands as they're going to try and get this rotation back out. But again, Port Adelaide now with some numbers, but Salisbury with that pace, showing some determination. They want that ball, and they're making sure that they have a good opportunity to get it as it bounces back towards that left side flank. But again, Port Adelaide just not giving up at the moment, as this is going to be a tough one, as there are numbers all around the ball. No clean pickup, but no Port Adelaide with some good wherewithal, but that one's going to stop it. As that looked to be Natasha Farrier, so she's showing some good stick-to-itiveness, good wherewithal around the ball, but she gets the free kick.
Yeah, she's been really strong today for Port Adelaide, leading from the front.
Well, that's exactly what you need, as it looks like Port Adelaide again with that possession, but Salisbury ripping it out of their hands, and it's like it's going to be a ball up. So it's going to be important, especially now, again, we're drifting back into that Salisbury territory again. They've been showing that pressure at the moment, and Port Adelaide have at least been weathering. It's been that bend but don't break attitude, but again, there's Sonneman, who is just showing that pace and that muscle that you need out of that ruck. But right now, Port Adelaide just holding on. Salisbury with the pick up, and going to see if we see some of that pace we've seen so far in that first quarter. As numbers around the ball, Salisbury trying to get it out. Kick smothered, can't quite get the extension she needs, but she finally does get it as the kick is towards full forward. Again, can Salisbury get the ball out cleanly for the kick? And this one is going to go out of bounds on the full. So a tough run of play there for Port Adelaide. Probably lucky there the Salisbury players weren't able to get the extension on it. But again, good defensive wherewithal just to stop that one. But again, you don't want to play defense all game. You want to try and get some run offensively. And they've got to find a way to break through this brick wall that they've come up against. As the kick towards the contest, and a nice mark for Salisbury. As it looks to be Baker again.
Yeah, she's a quality player, Nicole Baker.
Well, she's got an opportunity here from just inside 50, a decent angle, but it's going to be a challenging kick for just about anyone, but not impossible. Off the right foot, drifting right, and that is going to be a behind for Salisbury. So they'll add another one to their scoreline. 23-1 is the score at the moment.
Port just can't move the ball quickly. They just
can't, and especially when you're coming out of situations like this where you're kicking out of that back line. They've been kicking into contests as well, and we've seen Salisbury been able to shield it defensively and do a fantastic job. So it's going to be up to Port Adelaide to try and find something on the fly to see what they can do. And another mark there by Baker. So she's got another chance, basically the same spot. This one is going to drift right as well. So Salisbury just peppering the goal. But I suppose if you Port Adelaide, you're probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief that Salisbury hasn't been as accurate as they could be. This game could be in a danger area early on if a couple of those kicks went through the big uprights. But now Port Adelaide switching out towards the far wing. We'll see if they can get some, again, pace behind that ball. Nice mark there by Gould. And they've got to find these options, and Salisbury's just been everywhere at the moment. If Port Adelaide can just find that breakthrough, just something to get them going. But again, Salisbury yet again, that looks to be Baker yet again. This one looks to be in favour of Port Adelaide. No, it's going to be a ball up. So again, good opportunity here for Salisbury as they have been dominating that ruck. But at the moment, it's just going to be tough for Port Adelaide. I think that's going to be the storyline at the moment is, can Port Adelaide get it in to their offensive 50? So another ruck and another bounce out towards a contest. A lot of stoppages in this game so far, but again, it's been good, hard-nosed footy. As we've got another one here, so both teams definitely want that ball and been showing good wherewithal to get it, but Salisbury's just been able to, again, use that pace. Again, Port Adelaide with the handball off, going in favour of, but just getting thrown down and held to the ground. Nice stoppage there.
That one was holding the ball.
Was holding the ball, so now Salisbury yet again, things just not going in Port Adelaide's favour. They've got an opportunity here just outside 50, centre half forward towards the contest. Salisbury still holding on to possession, but Port Adelaide, they are just in a position. They cannot let this game get out of hand, and they are showing great energy here. But again, on the back foot at the moment, as we've got another stoppage now further inside Salisbury territory. Another ruck opportunity as the ball bouncing around, trying to get a clean pick up. Port Adelaide yet again can't get it out. Another stoppage here in Salisbury territory.
Yeah, it just gets very tiring for the defence when you just pep it all day.
Yeah, and constantly in a stop-start game as well, especially when you're losing that ruck battle, as Salisbury able to get the ball out, but not the clean pick up. Port Adelaide with numbers around it. They've got 3 on it. But again, another stoppage here. So really, at the moment, Salisbury all one-way traffic. And they've got to be feeling confident at the moment as we're 10 minutes in now, almost 11 into this second quarter. As there's the handball and there's the clearances, but it goes right towards some Salisbury players. A nice little defensive work there as a kick back towards centre half forward. And there is going to be a clean mark. And a quick handball off. They want to keep this pace moving. Gets past one, kick off the right boot. Going to be a contest at full forward. Port Adelaide can't get the pick up, and now they're going to be under a lot of pressure deep in their defensive 50. Finally gets the kick out. Now a bit of a switch going. Can they get some pace down that far corridor? And looks like, again, just trying to get that ball out. Now they're getting some pace. Now they're getting some movement. This is what we want to see from Port Adelaide. Now bouncing towards their offensive 50. Can they get the pickup they need to get some scoring? Constant sockers along the ground. And it's just going to stay in. No, it's going to go out. But that is a huge momentum shifter there. Exactly what Port Adelaide needs just to get the ball down their end of the ground, start showing some pressure.
Yeah, that was really good work there to just keep working the ball forward, even if it was off the ground, and then get the stoppage now in their 50.
Yep. Can they get a crucial ruck win, which they've been searching for so far in this game? This is going to go in Salisbury favour, and again, they've got those numbers around the ball. They're just showing those cleaner possessions, and those kicks have been on point. Nice mark there as they've now got some options to work with. Kick again out towards the far wing. Some nice run on, a one-on-one contest, but Salisbury just getting the ball out in time, and again, showing that aggressiveness just to make sure that if Port Adelaide want that ball, they are not getting it easily as they are struggling under this pressure. Constant handballs, but again, just can't get it out. Can Salisbury now start shifting it back the other way? They've got the numbers, and that maybe just a little bit of high contact. Free kick in favour of Salisbury. So again, that pressure that Port Adelaide have been showing, all that work they just put in, now going back the other way. Kick right down the corridor, big kick towards centre half forward, almost gets the mark there, but now Port Adelaide with those numbers, a nice mark of the ball, and that's going to be a stoppage. That one there was Paige Allen. Again, she didn't get the clean pickup, but then she had the wherewithal, 2-on-1 contest, basically shepherd one and make sure that, that again, Port Adelaide can't get the easy pickup as Salisbury with the ruck win, now kicking it towards the forward flank. Can't quite get the clean pick up again. 1-on-1 contest. If Port Adelaide just starts winning a couple of these, they could be in decent shape, but we're going to have another stoppage here right on the far flank.
Well, we saw that Port could move the ball really quickly in the play just before, so
it just hasn't been particularly consistent. If they could get a couple more of those, I said with the way that Salisbury's been playing, as this is going to be off the right boot towards full forward, and maybe a bit of high contact there. And it is free kick for Salisbury, so a crucial mistake there by Port Adelaide gives Salisbury another opportunity to put some points on the board, and there was that replay there. As now got a kick here from close range. The angle looks to be decent, and that is going to be in for a goal, as that looks to be Kazia Kulthane with her first goal of this game. And pretty much a give-me there for Salisbury, as now it is 30-1 in this game. And it's going to be important for Port Adelaide. They don't want to let this game get out of hand. They've shown, admirable defensive sort of awareness, the pace, but at the moment you can't put that together for 4 quarters. You cannot be expected to be on the back foot for the whole game. So if they can get just something going in their favour, then they can start putting some points on the board. But as we mentioned, all one-way traffic at the moment.
Well, Sonoman's come out of the ruck, so
maybe a chance here for Port Adelaide, as we've got another stoppage just outside the centre circle.
And it really hurts you when you've been in your forward line and then the other team goes up once and kicks a goal. So got to stay up.
Yeah, things finally started looking up, as now Port Adelaide with some run, and the kick relatively straight, doesn't quite have the distance, as here is Farrier again, gets the kick off. Port Adelaide with the first chance of a legitimate scoring opportunity, and it's in for a goal. Kayla Rusher with the first goal for Port Adelaide, just what they needed. Now make it 30-7, and again that run of play, finally able to get the kick out, get that separation, and there you go, points on the board.
Yep. And I think, they got that stoppage, got the tap of the ruck with Sonoman out of the ruck. So
this is their chance to maybe get some things going. She's not going to play ruck the whole game. You've got to take your opportunities when you can get them, but they've still got a bit of a ladder to climb here with 16 minutes gone in the second quarter. So ball up. And again, Salisbury with those numbers, it's suffocating around the ball, but Port Adelaide again with that bend but don't break attitude. Salisbury now kicking it towards their side of the field. Quick handball off, and they've got the numbers. The kick is going to be smothered by Evans. Just trying to find a black and white jumper she can work with. Kick finally gets out. There's that separation, but Salisbury not far behind. Now they've got the kick towards, again, centre half forward inside the 50. If they can get those numbers they've shown throughout this game, then they can have another opportunity here. Farrier trying to get something going, but again, Salisbury, nice tackle there, but the ball spilling out. Ball still live, Salisbury with the kick, and that one's going to go right to full forward, but Port Adelaide are right there. Another great play there by Evans, stopping another scoring opportunity.
She's been really strong back there for Port Adelaide.
They've been pretty crucial, as now towards the far side of the wing. 1-on-1 contest here. If Port Adelaide has some pace, they could do some real damage, but no. Salisbury's able to stop him, and the numbers just not quite there for Port Adelaide. It looks like we're going to have another stoppage here. And again, it's those opportunities, one step further ahead and you're off to the races. But no, Salisbury is just, again, showing that pace that has given them the lead so far. And another stoppage here. Still shading towards Salisbury's side of the field. As another stoppage here. So at least we're seeing a little bit more midfield play than we saw in the first quarter, but still Salisbury with a lot of effort at the moment. Port Adelaide just struggling to find that step as the kick goes out back towards the centre half of the field, towards Port Adelaide's side, but no, it's going to go right in the hands of Salisbury. Can't get the clean mark, and now, but again, those numbers behind, if there's any mistake, Salisbury's there to pick it up, and the big boot towards the left side flank, but a nice mark there by Faye Karafoudlis. And again, Port Adelaide just can't quite find those accurate kicks, and another stoppage. So they've been able to stop a couple of probing attempts from Salisbury, but they just haven't been able to get it out. The accuracy just hasn't been there for them, and Salisbury's been there to clean up every little mistake. As at least these rucks are getting a little bit more even as well. We're not seeing as aggressive of punch outs to going out into clear space. We're seeing a bit of back and forth here now, but Port Adelaide, it's going to be important for them to get that separation against Salisbury with the numbers in the middle of the field. There's Farrier yet again. She's definitely been involved in this game. And there's Evans now showing some rare form outside of defence. Maybe shifting her up a bit because of what she's been able to do so far in this game. But Port Adelaide needs as many numbers around the ball as they can get. As the kick again, just outside 50, but Port Adelaide again with the possession. Now seeing a little bit more back and forth towards the pack in the middle of the field. Going to be tough to get it out. Now here's that separation that Port Adelaide needs, but again just can't find the ball in clean space, and that's going to signal half time here. Second quarter done. Score 30-7 here at Alberton Oval. Port Adelaide showing some improvement over the first quarter, but still a bit of a mountain to climb.
Yeah, and I think Salisbury, like I said, they just cleaned up really well. They set up well behind the ball, and they worked well defensively as well as offensively, whereas I think Port struggled to work the ball offensively out of their 50. And I guess they were pretty tired after weathering a lot of the storm that quarter.
Yeah, that's the tough thing when you're on the back foot the whole quarter. Then you're coming in and you finally get that opportunity, that one-on-one battle that you need to win, and your legs are just gone. And so it gives them another opportunity here at halftime to go through the game plan yet again. But again, they just haven't had that pace, and it's been tough for them. So we'll see what they can do. But the halftime score on your screen, Port Adelaide with Salisbury 4-6-30. And Port Adelaide at the moment showing some good form, but we are going to go to a halftime break. A message from our sponsors, Fraser Fife, Emma Sampson. We'll be back for the second half after these messages.
Hello and welcome to this JMSC Josh Maitai Strength Conditioning Information Series. In this series that's going to be running throughout the season, we're going to be covering injury prevention, load management, foundation strength, power, and basically strength conditioning for female footballers. I hope you enjoy what we're about to show you and you take something from it that you can then implement with yourself or your teams. Enjoy. In order to understand ACL injury, first of all, I feel we need to understand ACL function. So the ACL is a ligament that attaches from the back to the front of the knee and actually protects the tibia, so the shin bone, from moving forwards, and then also from dynamic valgus, so internal rotation under load. What we need to do is basically to protect this here, the first thing we need to understand is how to control this function of the knee through movement. So we want to make sure that as you're standing on one leg, the knee doesn't drop in too much. As soon as that knee drops in too much, we're looking at increased risk of injury at higher loads, such as gameplay. Bring that back down. Cool, come back to that stance here. Cool. So what we want to basically be looking at, in order to protect that, neuromuscular function, learning how to jump and land, and then also structures in the sides of the knee, the front of the leg, and the back of the hamstring. We want to make sure they are nice and strong. That can be done through the strength training and through basic warm-up progressions before games and after games as well. Thank you for watching our latest episode. If you wish to minimize yourself or your players' risk of injury or take their strength and power to the next level, be sure to check out our website or contact myself or one of our trainers for further information. See you again next week.
It really doesn't matter whether you're serious with your footy, amateur or recreational. Wakefield Sports Clinic can provide all the assistance you require for the treatment, management and prevention of sports injuries. We are your one-stop shop with access to the best range of sports medicine specialists, including sports doctors, orthopedic surgeons, physiotherapists, podiatrists, sports psychologists, sports nutritionists, and massage therapists. At the Wakefield Sports Clinic, we are trusted with the care of many of the nation's best athletes. Our doctors and surgeons are part of the medical teams for the Adelaide Crows, Olympic and Commonwealth Games teams, the Matildas, Australian Beach Volleyball Team, Adelaide United, Norwood Football Club and Netball SA. You may be aware of the high incidence of ACL injuries. The great news is there are injury prevention programs that have been well proven to prevent up to 50% of lower limb injuries. Ask us how to implement an injury prevention program at your club today. Don't ignore the symptoms of concussion. Wakefield Sports Clinic provides a service for the initial and ongoing assessment of concussion. Wakefield Sports Clinic offers immediate access to our group of skilled doctors who will diagnose and determine the best course of action for dealing with your concussion. Please call our clinic on 1-800-888-925 to find out more information, or head to our website at www.wakefieldsports.com.au. We'll take you from game over to game on.
It's a foot race, Hodgson versus Coleman. Coleman will break Hodgson's ankles, then fend Walton, then step inside. He's kicked it over the top, and he will gather, and he will score! Down in the left-hand corner. Hodges will send it over to Abernathy. Abernathy will find Winch will score! 9-goal difference. Over, stay on the centre. Injection comes, good trap. There it is! There's the goal! 19 seconds to go, you called it. Bozako fires it. Trap fired forward. Beryl does well, but she gives it straight to Passani. Passani will get the equaliser. Owen has gone Salisbury's way. Little handball out the back. It's on the way. Goal on fire doesn't move. Woodlands will score. Salisbury Magpies' first goal of the game.
And she swings at this one. It's hit in the outfield. It is in foul territory. It is caught.
She caught it in foul territory.
It is now. Cats have won. Gabby Snyder touches home, and the Walkerville Cats are your 2017-18 premiers.
Well, there is your Salisbury team here as we are almost ready to go for the third quarter of the South Australian Women's Football League National 1 Plumbing Division 1 contest here at Alberton Oval. The story of this game all been Salisbury's way. Score currently at the moment 30-7. Port Adelaide with the last score of the second quarter. Again, second half now coming up. Fraser Fife and Emma Sampson here with the call. But Emma, right now, an opportunity here for Port Adelaide to start turning things around. But again, Salisbury with that pace they've shown, with that momentum, it's going to be a tough contest.
Yeah, but I think they finished that second quarter off really well and had a bit of momentum. And like I said, they kicked the last goal. So if they can take that into this third quarter and make a really good start, then they just really got to use their opportunities when they go into 50.
Yeah, the efficiency has been, I wouldn't say, it's been very tough for both teams just to be able to get it out of the middle, but whenever Salisbury's been able to get the ball in their forward 50, they've just had the numbers behind it. And as you mentioned prior to our break, they've just had players backing up the ball. They've had those numbers, so if a player is, they're pretty much always ready that if a player's going to make a mistake, that they have 3-4 people there ready for not just the pickup, but also the transition, the move forward ahead. And Port Adelaide just haven't quite had that yet. But again, second half here, an opportunity to start turning things around as Port Adelaide starting to make their way out here for this third quarter. As the wind's starting to pick up a little bit towards on your screen anyway, towards the close end of the ground, from the bar towards the numbers here, towards us in the broadcast booth. So from up to down. But again, been an absolutely fantastic day. So hopefully this weather continues to hold out. The sun is shining on us here at this Alberton Oval. Can Port Adelaide use this to their advantage, their home ground, as we are ready to go for the third quarter? Salisbury's been so dominant out of the ruck, but in this case, Port Adelaide showing some good pace as Farrier with the nice kick. And again, Port Adelaide just trying to get some renewed focus as the ball trickling towards the goal, and it's going to come off the post. Gee, when things don't go right, it seems to happen in bunches, and just a fantastic kick there by Kayla Usher, who did score the goal that Port Adelaide had. She ended up, the final score for Port Adelaide in that second quarter, but just couldn't find it. That would have been exactly what they needed, and now Salisbury with a bit of a break as the kick towards the wing. And it's going to be a nice mark there by Nicole Baker. She's definitely been involved in a lot of the scoring opportunities for Salisbury and almost gets the clean mark there, but that one's going to go over for a ball up. So now things going back. Of course, Salisbury kicking towards the left of your screen, so Port Adelaide to your right. See what they can do. Port Adelaide with a ball rarely in their territory, but can they start capitalising? No, this is going to go right to Salisbury, but a nice smother there. But again, those numbers behind the ball we were talking about, they were ready to go, and now the ball's showing a quick transition towards their side of the field. Nice little handball off, but Port Adelaide with the smothering numbers as the one-on-one contest goes in a neutral fashion. This one going to Salisbury, but ball up here now in Salisbury 50, and that quickly they've been able to transition to this part of the ground just through that pace.
Yeah, that's the difference really, moving it out of their defence to offence so quickly.
So now another ball towards the ground, just trying to, again, it's going to be important to try and get these balls out of the stoppages, but Port Adelaide, they're definitely coming in with a renewed focus. Another stoppage. It'll be interesting to see how Sonneman goes, because again, she's back in that ruck. We saw with Port Adelaide's success, it was when she was out of the ruck that they were able to finally get some ball movement. But Farrier with the kick out, this ball was on target, just couldn't quite get the mark. But now Evans with a bit of run. Now the kick again towards Salisbury, but it's just going to be these pickups, and it's going to be a nice tackle there by Kendall Howe to stop it. It's going to be another ball up in the middle part of the field.
A couple of early clearances for Farrier for Port, which has, got them a bit of early ball.
We're just showing that pace out of the back line as well. Just that's exactly what they need. And another beautiful kick here. Can't quite find the solid hands. So Salisbury, again with those numbers, and they've just been able to get these cleaner pickups, I should say. Is that one not quite showing me favour on that one. Another stoppage here in the middle part of the ground.
Some good pressure there by Port to lock it in sort of their half of the ground.
Yeah, both these teams have shown fantastic pressure, but I suppose Port Adelaide's probably been better defensively just from what they've, from the amount that they've had to do it. There's another stoppage potentially here is a bit of rough and tumble, but the stoppage. So it's going to be another ruck, which we've seen has been in favour of Salisbury, and it's all been Salisbury traffic so far, but Port Adelaide have to give them a lot of credit for what they've been able to do defensively, because they have done a lot of it. Evans with a nice tackle there after not being able to get the pickup she wanted. Again, it's going to go to the one-on-one contest on the ground. Ball can't quite get out, and that's going to be another stoppage towards the close part of the ground here on the wing.
Just been in it all day, Jess Evans.
Yeah, most definitely. She's been all over it. Again, it's been Evans and Solomon, probably the two that have been the players to watch so far. As Farrier, also another one you'd add to that conversation. Salisbury just trying to get the handball out, but Port Adelaide now with some numbers, but again can't get the clean pickup. Allows Salisbury a bit of a reprieve. High searching ball towards the contest. And Salisbury with a kick off the right, bouncing as it's going to be in a one-on-one contest against Salisbury with those numbers. There's a bit of a transition here just outside 50. It's going to bounce, one bounce in front of Port Adelaide. But again, Salisbury with those numbers, they've just been able to really put a lot of pressure on that ball, as we could finally have a stoppage here, and we do inside 50 on a bit of an angle here. But this is going to be an interesting one. Can Port weather the storm yet again? So they've got the ball bouncing out. It's going to be these pickups. Farrier, nice yet again. But the kick can't quite find the target with a lot of pressure now with some pace as Howell's got it. Nice little short kick towards Evans. Another searching ball, but Salisbury with the numbers in front, but no. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a back and forth here. Salisbury with the kick, and that's going to pressure another stoppage towards the middle part of the ground. Salisbury again getting those numbers back. And Salisbury's just been able to stop these attacks, but Port Adelaide showing some life. As here's Evans. Tries to get the bounce. A bit of contact and can't get the ball out cleanly. And that's going to be a free kick in favour of Salisbury. So Port Adelaide almost had a really good opportunity to score, but Salisbury putting a stop to that, and now they're going to start pushing it towards their end of the ground. One bounce, one contest. Trying to get this ball out. Salisbury again with those numbers. Gets past one, handball off. And a big kick on the right. Doesn't quite have the direction, but does have the distance to go out of bounds. As that was Solomon yet again. Just couldn't quite find the direction.
And Baker's having a big impact in the midfield for Salisbury. She's had a lot of the ball already this quarter, so Port will have to watch that one.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, tough assignments for Port Adelaide, but as I said, that bend but don't break attitude is this ball just bouncing around, can't quite find a clean recipient, and that one's going to bounce out yet again. So another ball up here, another chance here for Salisbury, deep in their offensive territory. Can Solomon pull out another one here? She's done so well, does get the pickup, can't quite get the ball off to her teammate, and Port Adelaide kicks this one right into Salisbury hands. They're going to try another searching ball almost towards full forward, and the mark taken by Port Adelaide, as that was Sheridan Howell. So now back to Farrier, deep in the shadows, got to try and find a jumper. Kick, decent kick, but again to Salisbury hand, that 2-1 contest. Another searching ball. Port Adelaide out in front, but Salisbury with those numbers, able to get the pick-up. Farrier heavily involved. Can't quite get the handball out. Still maintaining just inside 50. Ball smothered back to Port Adelaide, and a big kick just bounces in front of the wing. as that will be a ball up. So a little bit further out for Salisbury, but still with an opportunity here. Port Adelaide just trying to move the chains a little bit, trying to get some possession, but Sonneman tries to get this one. Again, it goes in her favour again, even when she doesn't get the clean pick up. Ball right towards the hands and can't quite get the pick up. And the ball just, again, another clear. So yet again, Salisbury deep in their own territory. Port Adelaide having to be on the defensive yet again, as these stoppages are starting to really add up here in this game. Salisbury can't quite get the ball out. A bit of hands up from everyone, wondering where the call was, and this one's going to go in favour of Salisbury. So an opportunity here for a goal when they're not that far out.
Bit lucky there, I think, when could have been holding the ball a bit earlier,
Yeah,
but
it could have been. I saw a couple of hands go up, wondering what the call was, but it goes in favour of Salisbury, and when things go right, so it seems to happen in bunches. Opposite for Port Adelaide, as that is going to be a kick right through the middle for a goal. As now 36-8 the scoreline here, 9 minutes into the third quarter. And I think that one, again, while it did come from a free kick, they still got themselves into that good position. That could have quite have easily been just another goal through a good passage of play. Unfortunate for Port Adelaide getting the penalty called on them, but and that's the game, them the breaks.
yeah, and when you keep bringing it inside your 50 like Salisbury have, and they keep applying that pressure down there, it's bound to end up in a goal eventually. So that was, I guess, well deserved anyway.
Yeah, well, they're at, I said 36-8 the scoreline at the moment. Port Adelaide just trying to get something to go their way, but again heading towards Salisbury territory. They've put some good fight up, but the pace has just been too much. A big kick by Solomon towards centre half forward. The ball on the ground, and this one's going to be stopped for a clean. Basically the same spot as we saw the free kick just not seconds ago. That's how quickly this ball is moving around. But again, deep in Salisbury territory, Solomon yet again with a nice hit out towards the numbers. Port Adelaide just trying to get that ball out, but just a step too slow a lot of the time. Just trying to get those numbers. Soccer's on the ground. A Farrier can't quite get the clean pick up. Salisbury with those numbers around, and it's going to be another stoppage here, almost in the centre circle. So a bit of a sort of shift up Port Adelaide's way. It really is a battle of attrition right now, as they are just trying to get it into their zone, but just struggling at the moment. There's Solomon, the big hit out now with some pace going. Big booming kick towards the zone. Could bounce in Salisbury's favour if they can get the clean pick up. Handball off. The kick is going to go through for a goal, as that was Paige Allen, who we've seen a few times this game get some good hands on the ball and showing some accurate kicking there, as we see the replay. And that really was, again, Port Adelaide just unable to keep it. It was a 3-on-1 contest, which is difficult at the best of times, but then to lose your footing as well, it really just, it keeps adding up for Port Adelaide. A lot of unlucky breaks for them, but you do have to give them credit for the amount of defensive play they've had to do in this game. And Salisbury showing good wherewithal, get a nice passage of play, but now 42-8 as we're back in the centre circle. And here is the ruck, Solomon with the pick up, another kick out. She has been so crucial for these stoppages, of which there have been a lot. Searching ball, and again straight into Salisbury hands. Big booming kick. Evans trying to get that one, but she loses the contact, tries the tackle and able to keep him down. Again, that's one thing that at least Evans has shown is, you know, even when she can't get the clean pickup, she's ready for the tackle and has been able to stop a lot of Salisbury progress by doing that. But another stoppage just outside the forward 50 for Salisbury. Another searching kick. It's going to be a tough contest. This one goes in favour of Port Adelaide. They're going to have to get some accurate kicking, trying to get some good transfers going. But the ball just smothered by Salisbury, just getting a hand on it. Now the ball just inside forward 50, trying to get it out, but it's going to be another stoppage here. So we'll see what can happen. The ruck going to Port Adelaide. If they can just get even a couple of handballs to go their way, things might start turning. But no, again, Salisbury's favour, as they've got those numbers behind the ball. Handball off. If they can get some space, maybe a kick, but no, a hard tackle will stop them in their tracks as another stoppage. It's the close end of the wing, the forward flank, as we see the replay here, and it's just these little things that Port Adelaide have been able to do that really has been keeping them, this scoreline, from getting any larger. As Simon with the big kick, but that one goes out on the full. So Port Adelaide now with a little bit of breathing room, but we've seen a few times the kicks from here have not been accurate. They've been into contests, and it's allowed Salisbury some opportunities. So if Port Adelaide can just slow things down a little bit. But no, it's going to go right to Solomon inside forward 50. It's going to be a tough angle, but we've seen she's got a big kick, but likely going to search for the contest at full forward. Big kick off the right, doesn't have the doesn't have the direction, has the distance, as that's going to go out on the full. So the big right boot still searching for that compass, but again, Port Adelaide from the same spot. Can they try again? Take two.
Salisbury set up really well here, locking it in their forward 50.
And again, it just forces Port Adelaide to try and kick to those 50-50 contests. Or, 50-50 is probably being generous. There have been so many Salisbury players around, but yeah, it forces them into unfavourable situations. So it looks like we've got another ball up here. Is that one just being touched before it went over? And we're going to have to see if Port Adelaide can just win some ruck contests. The ball heading towards the back of the pack. And not quite sure of a clean winner yet. Salisbury with those numbers yet again. Had possession, but it's going to be another ball up here. Just wherever you look, those jumpers are there. Simon tries to get this one. Farrier finally showing some separation. Gets the bounce, but doesn't get the clean gather, as that forces everyone onto the ground and gives Salisbury another chance, and a nice mark right in front of the forward square. As that is Shaylee O'Brien. Beautiful mark there. And she set herself up very nicely. Got good distance and it right in front. Can she add to Salisbury's lead? And the kick, no, just drifting to the right. So not necessarily a death blow, considering the score's 43-8, but just accurate kicking. Important, especially from that close in. But now Port Adelaide, another chance here, trying to go to that same place with the shoulder off. Again, straight to another 2-on-1 contest. Salisbury with those numbers. Kick not quite as accurate, straight into the hands of Evans, who does get taken a bit high, so she'll get the free kick. It's these opportunities here. It's just, put them in unfavourable positions. They don't have the pace to play on them and push up the ground, but also the positioning in which Salisbury's been playing has just been absolutely fantastic. Evans can't quite find her target, and that one's going to go over for what looks to be a free kick. So Salisbury now, as things start turning around. Big kick towards the centre part of the forward 50, centre half forward. Salisbury with the pick up, but it goes straight back to Port Adelaide. They've got some numbers. Can they get the pace going? No, Salisbury with a nice little tackle, but the ball still trickling out. 1-on-1 contest. If they can win this, they'd be in good stead. Salisbury, no, they've got this one. Kick back towards the corridor, as now we've got some pace on the Salisbury side, as they have some space to work with. A nice kick and another mark here by O'Brien. So she's got another chance here to put some points on the board. This is not quite as in front as last time, but similar distance.
Great play there by Ash Woodlands in the back line, just setting it up off half back.
And this kick is going to be through for a goal, as that will be O'Brien's first of this game. Said has had 2 shots on goal, 1-1 so far, but they said that passage of play, Port Adelaide, if they just were able to get some clean possession, they could have been off to the races, but no, switches back the other way, and some clean marking there gives them another point scoring opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Salisbury won that 50-50 contest, just half forward for Port Adelaide, but unfortunately they couldn't win that contest. Salisbury win it, get a clean possession in the corridor, and then Paige Allen with a nice finish to the full forward.
Well, that's the thing. It's come down to just being able to win those contests. But unfortunately for them, it hasn't been 50-50 contests. It's been a 100-0 contest for them so far in this game, as they just have not had the luck to be able to win those contests. But again, Salisbury with possession out of the tap, but Port Adelaide not going away so easily. Ball on the ground and stopped just outside the circle. So it looks like we're going to have another ball up, pretty much same spot as Sonneman, getting some more work out in the ruck. And the kick off, just sock it along the ground, trying to find that clean possession. No one at the moment. Port Adelaide with some numbers. But again, thrown to the ground, and that ball's going to be held up. Simon had the ball in her hands, but whistle went a little bit too early for her liking. So she's back in the ruck. Maybe a bit of a shovel throw there. And that one is going to be a free kick in favour of Port Adelaide. So they've got an opportunity here to try and do something. But they're going to need to do something quite a few more times over. As the ball not quite going in their favour. Again, Salisbury just with that defence at the moment, that pressure that they've been able to show so far all game. And it has just left Port Adelaide in a situation that they do not want to be in, and they are struggling to find any sort of momentum, any sort of rotation. But now they've finally got the ball out for the first time. They've been able to get the ball in their forward 50 for quite some time, but it goes right back into Salisbury's hands. Now Salisbury with some numbers. They've got some space in the corridor, kicking it towards the close side wing. Ball bouncing a bit. If someone can get on top of that one, they have potential. Ball bouncing, searching kick towards the flank. O'Brien trying to get that mark, but the nice stoppage there by Port Adelaide. But this one again going in favour of Salisbury. Right boot, goal, and that is all she wrote. So again, another fantastic passage of play for Salisbury, just leading. And again, those 50-50 contests, but they've just been able to show that pace, and there you go, that's as easy as you like.
That was a great front and centre there to that contest.
And there is the siren. So the score at three-quarter time, Salisbury 53, Port Adelaide 8. And at this point, Salisbury looking very, very comfortable. They have dominated each and every quarter. We saw the ball go into Port Adelaide's forward 50 twice in this quarter, and neither time was Port Adelaide able to do anything with it. And I think a lot of it has just been the positioning of Salisbury. They've been able to come out into a situation where you'd think 9 times out of 100 you'd be able to get someone behind that ball, and maybe a ball trickles out and you're lucky. But this has been their calling card, their MO so far in this game. Is it seems like those lucky breaks, they seem like they're lucky, but really it's just been fantastic position.
Yeah, and they're first to the ball, Salisbury, so they're giving themselves every opportunity, and in those what we're calling 50-50 contests, they're first to the ball. So they're going to get first hands every time.
Yeah, and as I said, with Port Adelaide, they've been slowly improving over the course of this game, things being a little bit more even, but at the moment it's just been really, really tough.
So I think Port just need a few more contributors. Tash Farrier has really tried her heart out as captain, and Jess Evans has given it a red-hot crack in defence. But there just doesn't seem to be a lot of other contributors for Port Adelaide today. So I think if Port can, get a few more people in this last quarter stepping up and not relying on the 1 or 2 players that they have for the game, then, they can hopefully pull the lead back a little bit.
Yeah, well, we've seen really it's been Farrier and Evans who have probably been the 2 standouts in regards to possession getters for Port Adelaide. But you're seeing like Kayla Usher getting a couple of chances at full forward, but the ball really hasn't been searching for her in this game. She hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities, and there's only so much you can do from a midfield that is struggling to get the ball out anyway. But then when you get it into the forward line, huge credit to the Salisbury defence and what they've been able to do. But there's only so many times you can sort of kick the ball into your forward 50 and hope that the ball bounces your way and that you get a kind bounce. But the score on your screen, Salisbury 8-7-53 to Port Adelaide 1-2-8. What do you think the point of emphasis is for Port Adelaide in this quarter?
I think they've just, got to give it all and go hard at the ball. They've got to try and win some centre clearances especially this first one. If they can get a good start and get the ball into their 50 quickly and get a goal on the board, that really lifts your team and can set the tone early.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how this last quarter goes. I think with Port Adelaide, they're probably not expecting to take this one out, but you've got to put some respectability back in that scoreline, work towards stuff that, towards next week as well. While the game isn't necessarily over, it has all been one-way traffic for Salisbury, and coming off that win that we spoke about against Adelaide University, where they put up 75 points, and now they're coming into this one with 53 just before the final quarter. They have an opportunity to beat that score and be a really solid offensive team, at least through the first 2 weeks. Go 2-0 for Port Adelaide, currently 0-1 after their loss to Christie's Beach, but 2 home games that they haven't been able to pull out. Going into some away games as well, they've got to try and find some form to go into the remaining weeks.
Yeah, and I think the coach will just be asking for a really high work rate this last quarter. First to the ball, I think, can really help set the tone for this quarter. Like we said, they might not win the game, but they can finish with good momentum and take it into next week.
Yeah, and that's going to be so important, especially in this league where the parity is amazing to have all these squads that have this sort of talent level in South Australia as well. And a lot of them play for multiple teams, and they sort of they switch around a lot. And you see, at least amongst South Australian football circles, you know a lot of these people, and we've seen a lot of them in play today, just doing an absolutely fantastic job. As we're a couple of minutes out from starting this fourth quarter, but we're looking at other games today. We had Port Adelaide and Christie's Beach last week, which, as you mentioned, 4-6:30 to 8:10:58. For the rest of today, you've had Adelaide University and Morphettville Park, which was happening today. Also yesterday we had Fitzroy and Christie's Beach as well. Christie's Beach now winning their game 65-19, so they're on a good run of form as well. It's going to be a tight contest throughout just for this league amongst this National 1 Plumbing Division 1 fixtures. It's going to be a very, very close season, so that's why these games are incredibly important and a good confidence booster for both these teams. And it's going to be up to Port Adelaide to try and pull out that final quarter. If they can even win this final quarter, then they can come out with something to look forward to for next week, as you said. But looks like with both teams out, we're almost ready to go to start this fourth quarter.
It looks like Port have made a change with Sheridan Howe going into the ruck, so she'll be a bit more athletic around the ball. They really just need to stop Sonneman's influence in the ruck. If they can just be competitive, get it to ground, and then, they have been winning clearances anyway, so if they can stop Sonneman's dominance, then, that might give them first use.
Yeah, easier said than done as we start this fourth quarter. Sonneman again with the ball after the tap bounces off one player and goes back to a Farrier, who has been very, very active in this game, able to push through the pack and get the kick off, as there might be a little bit of holding there, as that will go in favour of Salisbury. And they've got to try and move this one quickly towards the close wing. Nice mark here, and again just showing that pace, not holding up. They're forcing Port Adelaide to run, as Danielle Woods with the kick off, and the kick searching back towards almost the forward 50, just outside towards the centre part of the ground. And they've just got those numbers, and the ball being held up as too many Port Adelaide jumpers around that one, and that will be a stoppage. But again, Port Adelaide on the back foot, as again not in their zone, but got to give huge credit to Salisbury showing that pace, especially down the wing when they get the opportunity. In favour of Port Adelaide, but another stoppage here. So even when Port Adelaide have the ball, when they have it in these tight contests, have not been able to get it out of the pack. But the one thing Salisbury's been able to do is break those tackles and even get kicks out like that, which is easier said than done also. This one going back towards Port Adelaide. Handball off through the corridor. They just even need a kick in the hope that it will go in their favour. Bit of a one-on-one contest. Now numbers around the ball. This one not going to be coming out cleanly. Another stoppage, but swaps to the other side of the field. And that's where, I think for Port Adelaide it really is just try and kick it down the ground and make up that ground and that possession, because they have been struggling otherwise. And maybe things start to go their way. Farrier with the break and the kick is going to be right there for Port Adelaide, as Anna Calvario with the mark. And that's exactly what Farry's been doing all day, but finally has been able to do it in the forward 50, and it's starting to pay off now and showing a lot of that pace. The question is, can Port Adelaide capitalise and get some goals on the board?
Yeah, it was a great clearance again by Port Adelaide just then, and I think that in the second half they've probably at least evened up the clearances.
Yeah, it has been a lot more even of a contest. This one drifting left, and it's going to go for a behind. So Port Adelaide now with 9 points on the board, and Salisbury with the ball out the back. Big booming kick towards centre half back. Have to see how this one goes, as we've got 4 players on it in total, even match up, but that one being stripped out, and that looks to be holding the ball. So Port Adelaide with the ball now after a fantastic tackle by Ashley Gould. We saw her a little bit in the first quarter, as we see the tackle here. It's a nice strip right there. Well, we saw her a little bit in the first quarter, but it's been relatively silent so far. Now with an opportunity here to put more points on the board for Port Adelaide. Big searching kick towards the pack, and that one's going to drift right.
She won't be happy with that one. She's normally quite a good long kick, so unfortunate there.
And especially in these limited chances that Port Adelaide have had, it's very important just to be able to, kick it through the sticks. But unfortunately, still searching for it, as this is going to be another kick towards the same part of the field. Still inside the 50, as that's going to be a stoppage. So for Port Adelaide now, the ball is finally in their zone. If they can just get some taps and get some clearances, as we've seen Farry been very active around the ruck and getting that ball out. The ball now back towards the middle part of the field. A nice clean pickup by Salisbury, a handball off, and they've got those numbers, and the handball backed us onto the running player. Farry trying to get to that one, but the pace of Salisbury is too much. A nice mark there, and they're playing on immediately. They are not waiting around on this one. Kick off the right foot, bouncing towards a one-on-one contest. The bounce goes in favour of Salisbury, and this is just going to be a tough one. Can Port Adelaide get out of this one yet again? Nice kick just to clear it, to get some breathing room. Now they're searching towards the wing. Can't get the pick up, and again, Salisbury's just there to clean up these mistakes, turn these potential opportunities for Port Adelaide into stoppages. But Port Adelaide with the winner of that one. Bouncing ball, but back to Salisbury. They are just anywhere the ball needs to be. The tackle was a big one. Maybe holding the ball, but no call from the umpire, as Solomon now kicking it out of the middle. Now Port Adelaide with some run, just trying to get something, but again, those kicks have just been right at Salisbury players. Another searching ball, just outside 50, centre half of the field. Big searching kick towards full forward, towards the forward square, but again, maybe a bit of high contact, and that's going to be a free kick for Salisbury. So again, it's just these sorts of opportunities that have been against Port Adelaide, as Hannah Pavlovich, she gets an opportunity here to put Salisbury further in front. Decent angle, decent distance, definitely achievable. The kick drifting left, but it's going to be in for a goal. Salisbury just keep adding on to that scoreline, and we've seen 2 situations where Port Adelaide have sort of been stung by that penalty, but you think maybe a call out there in the holding the ball, maybe that sort of goes their way and things look a bit different, but them the breaks, unfortunately for them, just things have not been able to go their way, and unfortunately for them, the penalties that they have given up have cost them, and not that they need it anymore, but score now 61-9. Seeing some more positive signs from Port Adelaide, but again, just against the onslaught of Salisbury, they've just been too good. They've been just a level above. As we've got another ruck contest here, going yet again in favour of Salisbury, but they can't get the ball out quite as cleanly. Farrier, yet again, a lot of possessions in this game, a lot of clearances, but this clearance going right towards Salisbury. He's trying to sprint up the corridor. Can they get more numbers behind that ball? Not that they necessarily need it. Big searching kick, and that is going to be a mark just inside the 50, kicking towards, probing towards the wing, towards the flank. Salisbury yet again trying to get that possession. Port Adelaide trying to stop it, trying to kick off the left foot, opposite foot. And this one bouncing towards the defensive centre of the forward 50. It looks to be a stoppage here. So this is going to be a free kick in favour of Port Adelaide. Evans with the kick. And a nice mark there for Port Adelaide. Haven't seen a whole lot of them, as that is Badia Foucault. Now searching kick towards the wing, but yet again Salisbury with these numbers behind the ball. Danielle Woods with the kick. This one gonna be drifting foul and over the line for a ball up. But again, it's showing that pace on the wing, just having that player ready behind the ball who's not committing to it too early. They know a lot of it's going to be a one-on-one contest, and they feel very confident that they can win it. As we're almost 8 minutes through this game in the final quarter. Kick off the right foot, not quite accurate enough, and that one's going to bounce just before going out of bounds.
Yeah, Salisbury are just hitting that contest very, very at pace, and you know they're winning that contest every time. So Port just need to be a bit more on their toes in the forward line.
Yeah, they've had a few more opportunities than they have had in the first half of this game, but still lacking behind Salisbury. And again, just situations like that, no room to breathe for Port Adelaide. The moment they get the ball, it's two Salisbury players are all over them. So Port Adelaide with possession at the moment. Deep in their defensive end, kick towards Farrier. Can't make the mark, but keeps possession, kick towards the wing, and that's going to be off the Salisbury player, out of bounds, bowl up. So
can't quite hit the target,
yeah,
just close.
That's the issue, and especially when you're having a lot of trouble out of the ruck against these sorts of contests, that you need these situations to go in your favour. But again, Solomon's just been so fantastic in the ruck. Farrier yet again trying to get that ball out. She's been showing a lot of pace. Now Port Adelaide finally getting some run behind them, but the chase down from Salisbury, could it be enough? No, searching. The kick has distance. Bounce could be kind. No, it isn't, not quite enough, but Port Adelaide still with a good chance here. They've got numbers. Can they get something going? Some soccers around on the deck. There's about 4 Port players, 1 Salisbury player, and they go down. So a stoppage here, but now this back towards Port Adelaide zone, and this is the run of play. That was a beautiful kick. If it just took a nice bounce, it would have been nice, but Gould just unable to get quite enough on it. As Salisbury clearing this one back out. Still potentially danger for Salisbury, as there is a bit of contact, and that one's going to go in favour of Port Adelaide, so they've got a good opportunity here, as it is Kendall Howe. She's been one of the players who has been in this situation a lot, just searching for a target to hit, but Salisbury just getting in front of their players and been able to at least smother the ball and continue this down the corridor, is again showing that pace. Port Adelaide now having to transfer a lot quicker than they would have liked on the one-on-one contest. This one bouncing towards us, but still in the centre part of the ground, tries to get the soccer. Gets around one. Evans showing some good stick-to-itiveness to try and keep this a fair contest. The ball still on the ground, still anyone's at the moment. And it's just going to be tucked in for a stoppage. And that's what Evans been so good at doing for Port Adelaide. It's those sorts of situations where Salisbury could get away and just absolutely go off to the races, but she has stopped it, forced these clearances, at least turning it into a more even contest. So Port Adelaide now in possession. Mark finally works in their favour. Big kick taken by Usher. It's a booming right foot from her. Hasn't been able to find the location yet. One bounce taken. Big tackle from Salisbury. Looks like we're going to have a stoppage here. Big right foot snap, and it goes right in favour of Salisbury yet again. Those kicks just need to find their target. Things could be a bit different if Port Adelaide could find it. Handball back off the kick. Now with some pace. They are just off. The pace is too much for Port Adelaide. Able to get that kick off effectively, heading towards the flank. And we've got a bit of biffo here in the centre of the ground. So behind the play, a bit of pushing and shoving on the run. This is going to be a free kick in favour of Salisbury. So again, just a situation where an unnecessary penalty leads to more ground gained for Salisbury.
Yeah, that was not very good discipline by Beckwells there. The coach would not be happy.
Especially when it happens right at the front of the coach. Not exactly the best place to do it. But searching kick, mark taken. As that is Solomon yet again. She has been so active, not just in the ruck, but in that middle of the park.
Yeah, dangerous up forward when she's been resting out of the ruck.
Most definitely, she's got the foot, the boot to work with, where she can get a good kick. It's just finding that direction finder, which I think for a lot of these players has just been a little bit difficult. But here is the kick, and that one just drifting a little bit left, and that will be a point for Salisbury as they add another one. And here is the passage of play. There's Solomon with that mark, and both teams have been unafraid of playing on, especially when they've got a bit of room to work with. But it's definitely Salisbury's been able to be more efficient with that. Here is another play on for Kirsty Moran. And here is the kick towards the wing.
Nice mark.
Taken. Nice mark by Stacey Evans. Ball still searching for some space. Nice mark there. Sadie Gent. So now Port Adelaide getting a couple of marks, putting some numbers forward, getting some position in the middle of the ground. Nice smother there by Salisbury. Got some numbers, able to get the ball out, and here is the pace yet again. Just been able to show it so effectively as Paige Allen with the kick, searching towards inside 50. Solomon, here she is yet again. Able to get the kick off under pressure. This ball searching towards the wing. There's going to be another one-on-one contest. Port Adelaide with possession. Salisbury just gets it yet again. Gets past one, gets past two off the right foot, and that one's going to not quite have the distance, as that is going to be searching towards the far side of the wing. Evans yet again involved in that, but it's going to be a free kick in favour of Salisbury. So just some tough fouls going in favour of Salisbury at the moment. It's definitely been helping him out here, as that kick right in front of goal. That's Caitlin Byrne. So this is probably as easy as you like for Salisbury, right through the uprights. And that is another goal. Make it 68-9 for Salisbury. And here is that kick just on the replay. And as you can see, pretty much uncontested. Two Port Adelaide players there, neither of them going for it. I mean, I know the score is what it is, but you need to be able to put that effort in, especially that close to goal.
Yeah, that's right. I would be pretty disappointed with that one, I would think. But really unselfish from the pocket as well to centre it to your teammate there.
Yeah, you could most definitely justify kicking from that location. But yeah, right in front, searching for that player in a better position. So currently 15 minutes into the fourth quarter. Round two of this competition, the South Australian Women's Football League, and so far we've seen a fantastic game, although probably a bit one-sided, but great skills on show from Salisbury. They have a lot to take away from this game. It has been absolutely fantastic. As we've got a ball up in the middle of the field. So Salisbury with those numbers yet again, and just able to get those handballs out. They're not afraid to handball either. There's just not been a whole lot of pressure at the moment in the middle of the field. Another handball off, able to get the ball out of there under pressure. Another handball, they're just willing to keep it in front of them. Now Port Adelaide with a nice possession, but the tackle will take them over the line.
Yeah, Salisbury have just moved the ball really quickly and been quite clean with their skills today. It's been, good to watch their offensive play.
Yeah, and looking for both these teams towards week 3 next week, as we've got a nice run of play here from Salisbury right in front of goal. The snap kick off the right foot will lead to another goal for Salisbury. A fantastic goal from Paige Allen yet again. She's been seen probably a lot in the transition play, getting that ball to the forward line. Now finally gets an opportunity for herself, just runs around the opposition and through she goes.
Yeah, and she's so quick, so if you give her the space and they can get the kick out in front of her, she's a very dangerous player.
As there is the Alan Scott Power Headquarters, Port Adelaide Football Club Of course, both teams so closely linked, one club, and just looking towards week 3 for both these teams. Port Adelaide will be taking on Fitzroy here at Alberton Oval. For Salisbury, taking on Morfettville Park at Kellett Reserve. Both games, the 3 p.m. game on the Sunday. So going to be tough for both teams next week, but again, with Salisbury, the way they're playing, definitely a confidence booster. This one against a pretty good Port Adelaide side that's just been in a difficult situation, been talent-wise just unmatched, but the effort level has definitely been there. They just haven't been able to be, the step behind. But here again, Salisbury kick off the left foot, snapping towards goal, bounce. It's not quite over the line just yet. We've got a bit of a one-on-one contest. Now some numbers getting behind it. Sonneman heavily involved in this game, and she shows up yet again. Now Port Adelaide just trying to get something going. They just need to get this ball out. They've been under pressure all of this game. And they've not been able to play their natural game, but the ball just scrambling out at the moment. Potential another stoppage. No, going to get out in favour of Salisbury. Another shot on goal potential for them. Ball towards full forward, but taken by Port Adelaide. Luckily enough for them. As there is Evans. Defensively has been so solid, but only she can stem the tide for so long. The Salisbury offence has just been too good so far, as you can see by the score on your screen. 18 minutes through this 4th quarter. As Evans searching for something, as looks like we do have a stoppage here just by the 50-metre mark.
I think it was just cramps, so I'm not really sure why they stopped the game.
Too serious, but the kick is not going to be in favour of Port Adelaide, as that's going to go over and out. We saw with Hayley Charity, because she went out earlier in this game, that looked a little bit more serious. She was a big part of the first couple of minutes of this game anyway. Unfortunately, they haven't had the impact from her because of the injury, but when you see anything injury-wise, you just sort of hold your breath. Even if it is cramps, it's good that it's cramps. You don't want it to be anything too serious. But now we are ready to go yet again, deep inside Salisbury territory. They've got the numbers around. Nice spoil by Port Adelaide. It's just going to come down to trying to get that ball out. But at this point, it's just going to be pride. Now Salisbury yet again. Nice tackle by Farrier. And she's actually got the ball out in what looked to be a stoppage, but Farrier's got it out, and now they've got some numbers. Tries to handball it back, but it goes out over the line. And that was pretty good to get the ball out of that situation, considering it was such a committed tackle.
Yeah, she's a great competitor. She's just tried her heart out all day today.
And there is the final siren. Final score of this game, Salisbury 74, Port Adelaide 9. And I say, despite the scoreline, fantastic game played by both squads. Unfortunately for Port Adelaide, the pressure of Salisbury just too much. Their offense too good. And not necessarily back to the drawing board, but definitely some things to work on for next week.
Yeah, that's right. I think, they'll be pretty happy with that finish in the last quarter. They didn't give up. They showed good effort, but unfortunately, Salisbury just had a better rounded game from defence to offence. Obviously, Sonneman in the ruck was a huge influence in the whole game as well. Yeah,
definitely one of the impact players for Salisbury. Of course, for Port Adelaide, you'd say someone like Farrier Evans was absolutely fantastic. And there's positives to take from both sides, but you look at Port Adelaide, they're a team that, again, they scored 20 points last week in the first quarter, was held all the way to the 4th before they scored again. Similar sort of situation here, just unable to create the scoring opportunities, and were on the back foot for a lot of it. Couldn't create the space that they needed to play their natural game. So going up against Fitzroy next week, again, at their home ground, but you don't want to be going into games at your home ground where you see it as an advantage and still trying to sort of find your identity in this competition, because not a whole lot of games to play.
Yeah, I think next week's game against Fitzroy will probably be a really good game between Port and Fitzroy. Good chance for Port Adelaide to take the momentum from that last quarter and take it into the next game. Salisbury obviously got a tough game against Morfettville Park, so I think Salisbury will be pretty happy where they are after the first 2 rounds. And again, they'll definitely give Morphy Park a good run for their money, who have been a pretty strong club for the last few years.
Yeah, most definitely, but I suppose they've got to go in with a lot of confidence heading into week 3, but you don't want to rest on your laurels. You've got to work hard, but they are definitely putting themselves in a really good scoring opportunity for this season. Of course, full-time score here, Salisbury 11,874, Port Adelaide 139. Special thanks to our sponsors for this broadcast, JMSC, Josh, My Tice, Strength and Conditioning, also Wakefield Sports Clinic. A huge thank you to them for what they've done in putting this broadcast together. Also, huge thanks to Spacequake Sports for this one. Huge thanks to the South Australian Women's Football League. We will be back next week here at this, or should be back next week, I should say. Plenty on the schedule, we should say, for next week. My name is Fraser Fife, joining Emma Sampson. Thank you for joining me, Emma. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
In that case, final score 74 to Salisbury, Port Adelaide 9. We'll catch you next week.
Hello and welcome to this JMSC Josh Maitai Strength and Conditioning information series. In this series that's going to be running throughout the season, we're going to be covering injury prevention, load management, foundation strength, power, and basically strength and conditioning for female footballers. I hope you enjoy what we're about to show you and you take something from it that you can then implement with yourself or your teams. Enjoy. In order to understand ACL injury, first of all, I feel we need to understand ACL function. So the ACL is a ligament that attaches from the back to the front of the knee and actually protects the tibia, so the shin bone, from moving forwards, and then also from dynamic valgus, so internal rotation under load. What we need to do is basically to protect this here, the first thing we need to understand is how to control the function of the knee through movement. So we want to make sure that as you're standing on one leg, the knee doesn't drop in too much. As soon as that knee drops in too much, we're looking at increased risk of injury at higher loads, such as gameplay. Bring that back down. Cool, come back to that stance here. Cool. So what we want to basically be looking at, in order to protect that, neuromuscular function, learning how to jump and land, and then also structures in the sides of the knee, the front of the leg, and the back of the hamstring. We want to make sure they are nice and strong. That can be done through the strength training and through basic warm-up progressions before games and after games as well. Thank you for watching our latest episode. If you wish to minimize yourself or your players' risk of injury or take their strength and power to the next level, be sure to check out our website or contact myself or one of our trainers for further information. See you again next week.
It really doesn't matter whether you're serious with your footy, amateur or recreational. Wakefield Sports Clinic can provide all the assistance you require for the treatment, management and prevention of sports injuries. We are your one-stop shop with access to the best range of sports medicine specialists, including sports doctors, orthopedic surgeons, physiotherapists, podiatrists, sports psychologists, sports nutritionists, and massage therapists. At the Wakefield Sports Clinic, we are trusted with the care of many of the nation's best athletes. Our doctors and surgeons are part of the medical teams for the Adelaide Crows, Olympic and Commonwealth Games teams, the Matildas, Australian Beach Volleyball Team, Adelaide United, Norwood Football Club and Netball SA. You may be aware of the high incidence of ACL injuries. The great news is there are injury prevention programs that have been well proven to prevent up to 50% of lower limb injuries. Ask us how to implement an injury prevention program at your club today. Don't ignore the symptoms of concussion. Wakefield Sports Clinic provides a service for the initial and ongoing assessment of concussion. Wakefield Sports Clinic offers immediate access to our group of skilled doctors who will diagnose and determine the best course of action for dealing with your concussion. Please call our clinic on 1-800-888-925 to find out more information, or head to our website at www.wakefieldsports.com.au. We'll take you from game over to game on.
It's a foot race, Hodgson versus Coleman. Coleman will break Hodgson's ankles, then fend Walton, then step inside. He's kicked it over the top, and he will gather, and he will score! Down in the left-hand corner. Hodges will send it over to Abernathy. Abernathy will find Winch will score! 9-goal difference. Over, State Hockey Centre. Injection comes, good trap, there it is! That's the goal! 19 seconds to go, you called it, Bozzico! fires in the trap, fire forward. Beryl goes well, but she gives it straight to Passani. Passani will get the equaliser. Owen has gone Salisbury's way. Little handball out the back. It's on the way. Goal umpire doesn't move. Woodlands will score. Salisbury Magpies' first goal of the game.
And she swings at this one. It's hit in the outfield. It is in foul territory. It is caught.
What? She caught it in foul territory.
It is now